another day, another video, and this one to me is really important. It's really important to you too. Now I know Apple isn't the most exciting news to most of my viewers, any Apple headset, because it's inaccessible to most, it's expensive, but, and I'll say this now, and I'm going to get to it, if Apple launches a headset this year, which is very likely based off the news we're about to talk about, or more likely based on the news we talk about, it'll be the biggest and best thing that could happen to Meta this year. It'll be the best thing that could happen to VR this year. And we'll get into that. But when we talk Apple, it never ceases to amaze me every time I have Apple on the thumbnail how poorly videos do compared to other things. It just doesn't seem like my base thinks of Apple that much, right? But it goes without saying that Apple getting into VR makes sense, and it makes sense why people want Apple products. Maybe they do not like Meta. Pretty common out there. Maybe they have a lot of Apple products already, and it's no secret that Apple products work fairly well together. And if you already invested in the Apple ecosystem, then hey, it makes sense. You want an Apple headset, and maybe you just love the brand. Many people, slap an Apple logo on a bag of shit, and people will buy it. That's just what Apple does. They set trends. They have always done it, and people buy into it. It makes sense, right? The recent news that probably came out a day or two before the filming of this video is the second phase engineering validation test, the EVT2. I'll be referring to that for the rest of the video. The EVT2 of the Apple headset passed. What this basically is they took a bunch of mass-producible parts, put them together for a working prototype of their headset, and everything looked more or less good enough, and it passed that test. That is a big milestone. When a headset passes that test, or really a product passes the EVT2 test, it's usually a sign that mass production is soon. And it's also a sign that at that point in time, dev units might be ready. So under intergalactic secretive NDA, it is very likely once Apple headset passed the EVT2 test, that dev units are going out relatively soon. And when dev units go out relatively soon, pending no major issues, it means that production lines usually are down the road. And with WWDC happening at the end of the year, Apple's annual conference for developers, it is likely and plausible that the headset might launch at the end of 2022 at WWDC for developers, because this is the first in its product line, and developers are going to be the only people who can make sure that this succeeds, if it does or does not. So it all lines up. And that brings me back full circle to Apple launching a headset and what that means to Meta. Because when you look at 2022 and early 2023, go talk to your favorite content creators, ones that you trust, and ask them what they know for a fact is coming this year. That's going to dramatically impact virtual reality. The answer is not much. This year, as far as confirmed things go, is very light. It is likely PlayStation 2, something might happen there. It is likely Cambria, something might happen there. But I say likely. No one knows 100% this year a lot of stuff, and that's not a good sign for VR to be more socially acceptable. But that's where Apple comes in. If Apple launches their headset at the end of this year, it'll be good for Meta. Because what is the number one thing that we all have problems with? And we talked about it last week, actually. I'm rambling here, but we talked about this last week. That no matter how many people I show VR to, there's something inherent in them. Whether it's the adverse to new things, learning new technology, to a change in the way they've gamed forever, there's a pushback to virtual reality, right? There's always a pushback. I think the number one pushback, like inherently, the reason they inherently reel back and push back on virtual reality, and I don't blame them, it's a head-mounted display. It's wearing something on your head. It's a big change. We don't think of it that much, but it's a big psychological change in convincing someone to put something on their head that's hot and uncomfortable and play games. But if Apple puts something out, it will normalize and validate. HMDs, head-mounted displays, that's what it's all about. When Apple puts out their headset, it's a $3,000 headset. It's not going to be applicable to everybody. It's not going to be applicable to half the people. They can't afford it. They don't know what use is. They don't know if it's good. This is a early adopter product to the extreme for Apple. Well, they're going to be interested, because now it validated, if Apple said it's cool, it validates wearing a head-mounted display. It validates wearing something on my head might be what is in store for me now in the future, because I love Apple products. I have Apple products. I'm going to buy that in the future when I can afford it and know it works. So now we validated head-mounted displays, but I want this now. This seems cool. I don't know when Apple's going to be doing, the next version of this. I've only been hearing about this since 2018. Well, where are we going to go next? Cambria or MetaQuest 2? It's that simple. And in a year where I'm not really that excited for much that I know about coming for VR, like I'm excited for what every day brings. But knowing what is coming this year that could dramatically change my friend's favor of VR or the niche in a whole, it's not a lot. But a head-mounted display from Apple validates everything. It validates everything that we've ever been talking about. And I know I'm railing at this point, but it's really big. Meta at this point should really just be screaming from the rooftops and cheering on Apple. Let's go! Come on, Apple, let's go! Because they're not competitors, they're not. But it will validate, it'll make wearing a head-mounted display normal for everybody. And that's exciting. It's really exciting because, right, and unfortunately it might just be Apple and Meta for a while. That might be who we have, with Valve coming in as the hero eventually. But that's really my thoughts for today. That's really all I wanted to talk about. Will I be getting an Apple headset? No, probably not. I'm not going to spend $3,000 on an early adopting product when I'm already entrenched in the niche. Like, it's just not something I'm probably going to invest in. I don't even know what it's going to be, but I'm excited to see what happens when their headset comes out and what happens. I will be looking at every other headset's numbers and seeing if there's any trends of everything else doing better, because my theory is it will, and Meta is about to have a baller-ass year if Apple launches their headset. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know your comments or your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you next time, Space Cowboys. Peace.